Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube segment, I'm going to be talking about someone by the name of Anton Kanevsky, and many of you may have heard of him. Sadly, he had jumped off the Tennessee Tower on July 4th, 2016 and plummeted to his death. It was a 31-story building, and this occurred shortly before 6 a.m., and it's just terrible. And I think I really there was something that piqued my interest in the story, and part of it it's just the general sadness and how devastating something like this could be, and coupled with the fact he's actually was from Long Island like me. He was from East Meadow, New York. I mean, 26 years old is such a, I mean, his whole life ahead of him. And I saw this story in the magazine called The Nashville Scene, and I generally don't read many articles in that magazine, but this one really was interesting to me, but of course very sad at the same time, and I'm sure made many people feel very despondent. And what happened was he came over and during his travels, stayed in Nashville, Tennessee for a little bit. And apparently what happened was he wanted to conquer his fear of heights. And what it seems like, from at least from my understanding, no video footage of him going into the building, they speculate, the police or what have you, that he's actually scaled the Tennessee Tower. 31 stories. I mean, I think it's safe to say he did conquer his fear of heights. I mean, my understanding that is the highest structure in Nashville, Tennessee. And when he got up to the pinnacle, whatever the point, the top of the tower, he had apparently had sent a text message to somebody, and it was kind of cryptic, and it was like he was almost having a conversation with himself and debating over jumping or from the tower. And the thing about it was his cousin had told a police officer that he had heard voices, that the person that jumped off the building, Anton Kanevsky, had heard some voices. And I'm thinking, really, maybe he had some voices going on at the time that he heard that was telling him to do this, as sad as this might sound, or it really, and as far-fetched, maybe it sounds, I think that's very plausible as to what happened. And the thing, too, about this is what's sad is that some people, when they're going to do something like this, there may not always be that warning sign or precursor or something. I mean, my feeling on this is that when he first scaled the building, assuming that's what he did, I'm sure in all probability he scaled the building. He didn't have the intention, I don't think, of jumping off the building when he got up there. But what happened was, something happened, whatever, when he got to the top of that building where he made that decision. In other words, my feeling is I don't think this was premeditated. I don't think it was planned that he was going to jump. He might have planned climbing a building for some time in order to conquer the fear of heights or what have you, because something like that usually is going to take a little bit more plotting and planning. It's not something you're generally going to do in a real spontaneous manner. But the thing about it was, when he got to the top, he had stated something about not being able to get through the window, that there was a security code or something that likely needed to be punched in from the outside in order for him to get in. And I would hate to think out of desperation he jumped, but when I think about it, based on the text message that he had sent to someone, I think it could very well have been that the voices maybe had told him in his mind, the voice that he heard told him to do this. Now, I mean, hearing voices in your head, I mean, sometimes can be an indication of schizophrenia or bipolar disorder, but not all the time. Who really knows? And this death is very confounding, and I think it was very disconcerting and really troubling to a lot of people. And when I read in the Nashville Scene, I think it was one of the officers had said, I don't remember his exact words, but it was at least one of the most troubling things he'd seen, or the most in terms of his years on the force. And really, something like that can be. This person, I mean, I know it was just an article in a magazine, but he seemed like he was a pretty good guy. He's got a good head on his shoulders. I think he was involved with computers or something. It might have been something with software he was doing as far as a profession goes. And the thing about this is that you don't always know when something like this can happen. The thing with the voices, he was hearing voices, and I don't know, I mean, who could really tell that it would lead to something like this? I don't know if there were any indicators that he was suicidal prior to jumping, but what I think is important for whoever sees this video out there, if you're not already cognizant of this, that if you know someone that might be suicidal, you need to get them the help immediately. So a lot of people will say it's not a good idea to tell someone directly that you think he or she is suicidal. But sometimes with some people, that maybe that's the only way to confront them with it. I mean, rather than being subtle, sometimes you might have to take the direct approach. And if you tried other things and you stated you need to talk with, like for instance, if you just said, well, you need to talk with somebody, and sometimes not everybody, I mean, at times not everyone's going to understand or get that. Sometimes they need the straightforward, direct approach, I think, in some instances. So anyway, I mean, I just want to say if any of his family members or close friends happen to see this video, I offer my condolences, very belated, of course. This did occur on July 14th, 2016. I had seen the article in the Nashville Scene, which was published about a month ago in relation to the time I'm going to upload this video to YouTube. So, and I do, again, I give all my respects and prayers, condolences to the family and any close friends that he may have had. And anyway, people, this is Edwin Learnard, and until next time, stay well.